There's like a 15 or 20-second delay. I have water with me instead of soda this time. Your constant fitness and stuff always remind me, like, I should drink water
It's as big as my head.
on this
It's
one.
got to be done.
Oh yeah. Yep. All right. So we are going to play the soda this time. Boom. There we go. Mute that up. All right. Cool. So
Well, what just happened?
Huh? I don't. I think it froze for like just a second, but I think it's.
Please try that again.
I think it's good now. Yeah. It did freeze for just a second, but I think it's good now.
It's all gone a bit crazy. It feels like I'm in some sort of portal. Whoa.
Hold on. Yeah, it's still freezing. Let me try changing my Wi-Fi. Let me do. Can you hear me decent now?
All over the place.
All right. So, all right, we're gonna try to get started here. I am live here with Kinniku Ninja.
Woo!
And I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm gonna let you do, if you want to do a brief introduction of yourself and whatnot, and that way people can get a feel for who you are, and then we will go from there.
Sure. So my name's Ash, also known as the Kinniku Ninja. I've been doing all Japanese some of the time, not all Japanese all the time, for the past it'll be 3 years in September. Get 3 year point on there, yeah. So yeah, study pretty hard. A lot of people say that I'm fluent, whereas I don't think I am. You know, I can see the gaps that they can't see.
Right.
You know, but I'm doing all right. I'm quite happy with what I've got together.
Yeah, and that's actually a super good point because especially and you do upload YouTube videos, which I have your YouTube channel linked in the description below. But so many people on YouTube always try to compare themselves with others, and that's a valid point. A very good thing to mention is that you're not really concerned with this. You're happy with where you're at.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I mean, the biggest thing is like you tell me that you've watched my videos and you've watched a lot of other people's videos, and well, it takes me a lot of time and effort to watch other people's videos, and that's no offense to them or any of their editing styles or talking styles or anything like that. I genuinely want to hear about other people's progress. But the time I'm listening to their update videos, I could be a mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these scales in my head all the time, like, oh, you know, it's a tough game to balance. So yeah, I'm really proud of all other people's videos, and I have taken time, just especially these last couple of months. We've all been sat at home, so I had a bit more time on my hands to check in on people and watch all those videos and all their updates. But usually, I get pushed to the side, and I just spend more time immersing myself. So sorry to everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Well, I mean, it's like I had somebody ask me in a stream the other day about how I managed watching other people's YouTube videos and doing my immersion, and basically I've set, if I don't immerse, like I have about an hour a day that I can actively immerse. If I don't hit that, I don't watch other people's YouTube videos. If I hit that and I decide, you know what, I've done about an hour and I'm comfortable with, I'm good with that. Like, sure, I could benefit more from doing more, but like if I'm comfortable with that, then I will progress to watch whatever else I need, some sort of informational thing or whatever I'm trying, whatever I'm trying to watch. So that's kind of how I set that. But the thing I like about your videos and your style is like everybody thinks that if you don't have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day to spend, you're not going to learn it. And you spent 30 minutes or so. I think you said 30 minutes roughly a day. And
yeah, if that. I mean, the guys that spend 7, 8, 9 hours on it a day, they're all the ones that complain about language burnout, and I've never felt that. Everything that I do in Japanese, it's all fun, I mean, I do sort of live in the language. I'm here in Leeds in England, so I'm not in Japan right now, and I've not been since 2010, so it's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But like my phone's in Japanese, and anything that comes through, all the apps I download, anything like that is Japanese just by default. So
yeah.
I'm living in the language. I'm talking to people in Japanese I'm all the time, and my Instagram rule as well. I'm not allowed to post anything on there unless it's in Japanese, so that motivates me to study as well. So I might not get the immersion time, dedicated to studying, but I am living in the language even though I'm not in Japan, so that does help.
Sure.
At the beginning as well, that was really dumbfounding as well. Like, what is that? What is this kanji? What does this mean? Panic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I know that you did a lot of, when you did kanji, you have in your, I think in your 6 month video, you had brought up the just notebook of just kanji. It was just full. Do you think that
Yeah, it was fun.
do you think that writing helped you remember them? Like, do you think that was a help for you?
Yes and no. I mean, in the beginning, it did help, but it takes a very, very long time, especially when those reps start building up on Anki, man. It really does take a long time. And I burned through about 4 or 5 pens. Like, I didn't even know pens could run out of ink so fast, but they do if you're doing lots of kanji all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, I burnt through a few pens doing that. And eventually, RTK got to the point where I could recognize the kanji straight away. Say, for example, the kanji for head turned up.
Hmm.
And I'd see that, and my instant response would be, it's atama, no, it's tsu, and I couldn't think of the English keyword, and that's the most annoying thing, and that's the point where I sacked off RTK, if I'm honest. I still sort of use it every day, but if I get it right or not, I'm not really bothered. I just look at the kanji and, okay, so that loosely means this. I don't
Yeah.
write it down anymore. I just sort of glance over it, which is a really sort of, blasé way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah,
But
it makes sense.
I'm just not bothered with it anymore because I'm not going to say it doesn't work for me. It does, but I'm either recalling some sort of really abstract keyword like catapula
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm recalling the Japanese word, and if I can recall the Japanese word, I might as well just do that in context of a video game rather than wasting time on Anki.
Yeah, I can't. The one that always comes to my mind when I think about keywords is the kanji for admonish, and I don't
Oh
think I
yeah.
don't think I had ever even really heard the word admonish until I saw that card, and I was like, "How am I supposed to? That doesn't even make sense to me." Like, but so I want to jump backwards a little bit, and let's just get into the initial interest into Japanese. Did you have an interest into language learning as a whole, or was it specifically the Japanese culture? So I want to jump into that a little bit.
So it starts way back when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Like, my parents bought me a Sega Mega Drive. What's it? Genesis to you
Yeah.
Americans, Genesis. So my parents bought me a Mega Drive, and from then on, like everything that I was interested in, whether it was Sonic the Hedgehog, whether it was Power Rangers, whether it was Street Fighter, or you name it, like I didn't know it at the time, but everything I liked came from Japan,
Hmm.
and I just got all this like foundation of things that built up and built up. I was saying on Instagram the other day with Nico Sensei that when I first saw the movie Akira, it was because a teacher at the time saw me doodling some picture of Goku. He was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you like anime? You like this movie?" And I was like, "What's anime?" And he's like, "What do you mean what's anime? You're drawing Dragon Ball." So I was like, "No, it's just Goku. It's Pokemon style." And he's like, "No, not Pokemon style. It's anime." And he gave me the movie Akira, and from there I was like, "Oh, thank you for that keyword."
Right.
And that's the path I went down. Then just discovering these new things this way. Yeah, so it wasn't so much a fascination with Japan or Japanese culture. It just happened to be the things that I liked came from Japan, and it's very much the same way now. Like, I'm not the biggest anime fan or anything like that. I mean, the current dream obviously is to end up, please, hopefully, be invited onto Sasuke, the Japanese version of Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
And if they ever, have to interview me or anything like that, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if they need to get me on the show, I'll be more than happy to converse with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just an amalgamation of all my favorite things, and that's what my YouTube channel is about. It's like, on one hand, you have my fitness lifestyle, which is what I love the most, and then my other hobby of language learning and just mashing it all together.
Yeah. I think it's a unique thing. Like, there's not. I can't think of anything else that's learn languages and watch me do these crazy like Ninja Warrior training routines. So it's a pretty unique thing. So which
Yeah, man.
I like it a lot. When you first decided that you were gonna start picking up Japanese and try to learn it, what was your what was your method? Like what did you like? Because I'm assuming you went in without the idea of knowing anything in terms of language learning. So what was your like? How did you get into that? Oh no, I think the network froze again. Did it freeze again? No. Maybe. Oh,
Hello.
oh, I can hear you now. Okay.
It's gone.
No, there it is. All right, can you hear me? No. All right, we're gonna keep working on this. See if he comes back in. YouTube videos are being slow. Maybe. Let me see. Let me message him on Twitter and see what is up.
Are you back?
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I know sometimes YouTube is weird with the way that like their live streams will like lag and stuff. That it could be that, or it could be
No idea. Can you repeat the
who
last
knows.
question, please?
Yeah. So when you first started getting into language learning, like when you decided you were gonna try to pick up some Japanese, like I'm assuming you didn't have a whole lot of probably knowledge on language learning as it was something new to you. So what did you jump into? Like how did you go about trying? Like what was the first thing that you really did to try to get into learning Japanese?
I remember the exact moment. It was around the 2007, 2008 mark because Pokemon Diamond version was coming out over here, but it had already been out for a year in Japan, and I was thinking, if I could learn Japanese, I wouldn't have to wait, all
Right.
this time to be able to enjoy my favorite things. So if I could learn Japanese, that'd be amazing. So my girlfriend at the time, she bought me a copy of Japanese for Dummies,
Nice.
which is it's hilarious, by the way. If you ever read it through it, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I have it on my bookshelf in the I have it on my bookshelf in my room.
So you can learn words like karate and tatsumaki and stuff like
Right.
that. So yeah, I did that, and I also joined a Japanese class at university as well. And it was, man, I don't know if it was just my class or anything like that. It was such a weird environment. So you sat down in these lessons, and there's me with my notebook. A few people sat around, and the teacher's like, "Oh, does anybody know any Japanese words already?" And the dude next to me goes, "Oh, I know one, Shinigami." What? He's like Death God or Death Eater or something like that. So depending on what anime you watch. So I was like, okay, this is the way it's going to go down. And to be fair, the class was quite cool. It was very restrictive. They only let us write in Romaji the whole time we were there. Even though I was like, no, I want to learn some of the characters. And the teacher said, no. We learn Romaji, we learn how to speak, introduce ourselves in year one. And
Whoa.
in year two, we can move forward a little bit. So a whole year, learning Japanese in the same textbook as well. We only made it like halfway through. Like we do one lesson in the class and one lesson at home. That was there, and I didn't make that much progress. The majority of the time with the Shinigami people, I spent most of the time speaking in English about Japan, so
Right.
we get to learn anything really. I mean, it was nice. I enjoyed myself, and if I had something, sensei, what does this word say on this? She translate it for me. So that was cool. Anyway, the second year, I'd booked myself to go to Japan because part of my teacher study, because yeah, if you didn't know, I'm a primary school teacher. That's my job.
Mm.
So part of that was to go teach in a classroom outside what you'd normally expect to see in English language in English school teaching. So I asked if I could go to Japan for that time, which they happily accepted. So I thought, right, I really need to up my Japanese study now. So before the second year of the class started, I thought, oh, I know what I can do. I can teach myself hiragana and katakana, get a bit of a head start going on. So I learned hiragana and katakana, and the class started. But we had a new teacher, and she was really strict. This is about the time that I discovered AJAP for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I started taking that on board, and my God, like I became so much better than everybody else so quickly.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I was fluent by any means, it was, but I got to like the further end of the basics where everyone else was doing like watashi wa sumisu desu or whatever it was.
Right. Right.
So, and I remember there was one point, and it was the point where I left because teacher, we'd done this lesson, and it was pretty much Kore wa Pendes sort of thing, but written in hiragana and katakana. So at the end of the lesson, I just went over to the teacher. I'm like, Miss, I'm really sorry, but this homework's a little bit too easy for me. Is there any way we can sort of make it a bit more difficult? And I'm not kidding. She screamed in my face like I was some sort of small child that had just broken all of the most precious items in the world. And she's like, no, that is not what the course says. You've got to do it my way, this, just like this. How dare you ask me why you were doing such easy work? And I was like, whoa, goodbye. So shortly after that, I went to Japan, stayed there for a while. And when I was on the way to Japan, I thought my Japanese was legit. You know, I've been doing Japanese studies for 2 years. I'd done a little bit of AJAP. Man, I quickly got put in my place when I was there. You know? Very quickly got put in my place. But yeah, that was 2010. I didn't study again after that, but I did go back to Japan in 2012 with my family for a holiday. And then again, no study from 2012 all the way up to 2017. When my friend was like, oh, Dragon Ball Super's coming out soon. Can you just have a look at this website? You speak Japanese, don't you? Just have a look at this and see what it says. And I couldn't read it. So I was like, oh, no. What do I do?
Right.
So with that, that's when I started studying again. My new study method was a bit different. Like, I got my old textbooks out, and I reviewed all the stuff from Japanese for Busy People, from what I could do before. I sort of built up a little bit of a foundation with that. And then I thought, what was that thing that I did before where I did those really fun things and then I learned Japanese through doing all my hobbies? What was that called again? And I couldn't remember it, but I was like, right, okay. So I'll just play Pokemon. So I got Pokemon Sun, and you can change the language settings, so I put it in Japanese. I'm like, right, okay, I'll just play along, and anything I don't know, I'll make a list of. So the big folder full of kanji that you mentioned before.
Right.
And then at the very front of that book, there was like a vocabulary list of all the unknown words, and that list got very, very long, very, very quickly. So I was thinking to myself, right, okay, because every time I tried to review it just by using the textbook, I couldn't remember any of the words. So I was like, right, okay, what can I do? I had a thought then, there's that program, what's it called? Anki, where you can learn stuff. So I just started doing word for word, but I couldn't remember any of the things. Like Kogeki, attack, came up, and I couldn't read it for the life of me. So I thought, this isn't working. So from there, I watched the classic AJAP video with Tokyo Sam and Katsumoto. I don't know if you've seen it. It's in like 3 different parts of 10 minutes.
Yeah, I haven't.
You've not seen it?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
For me, that really hit home. I won't go into the details, but basically it's just like get to a point where you can find +1 sentences and start going from there. So I stopped playing Pokemon for a little bit until I built up a good foundation. And I did that by using the Nihongo Shark Core 2000, their vocab deck, RTK, and Taken's Grammar Guide. And from there, I did that for about 3 months straight, not doing anything else. I did some listening, and I did my kanji reps and everything else. And then 3 months in, I played Pokemon again, and I could start picking up things. And from then on out, it's basically just look for a sentence with 1 word you don't know and add it in as a deck.
Yeah.
Add it in as a card, sorry. And that's been my whole process, really. See, I haven't read the AJAP table of contents. I haven't read anything on the MIA website. And that's no offense to Matt, but again, it's time that I could be reading things in Japanese, so I don't do it.
Right.
I don't have anything like Morphman or any of the other Anki extensions. It's just very, very basic. This is the front, this is the back. Find a word you don't know, put it in there.
Yeah. Well, I find that to be very motivating because there's a lot of people who get so bombarded with the idea of I need to do things exactly the way this is or that is, and you even if unknowingly took the core principles, but then still made it your own system, you know. And I think that's like me. I'm doing like an 80% MIA and then 20% still some. I still deleted. I still don't use any applications on my phone in terms of like Duolingo. I don't use any of the like gamification apps. But like, I still do. I started doing a little bit of reading, and I'll still, just some different stuff like that. Like, and I mean like reading in a sense of like a book, not like manga or anything, because I still like that. And I find that to be perfectly fine. And honestly, once I get through Remember the Kanji, from where my vocabulary is still pretty limited, I think I'm going to take. I think I'm going to use that Nihongo Shark deck that you were talking about just to boost my vocabulary quick. Because if I can do 10 or 15 words a day extra on top of just whatever I'm picking up immersion wise, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of really useful words in it, and they do come up quite regularly as well. So I thought it was really useful to begin with. But yeah, just you find what works for you and stick with it. Don't listen to what other people say. If it's I don't want to say it clearly works for me because, like I said, there is lots of gaps here and there. And all my vocabulary is based around my interests of like climbing, bouldering, fitness, ninja warrior. So if you ask me something, I don't know, baking, I'd probably come up with crapper. But
still, I mean, but that's what you like. That's what made it work, though. But you know what? I bet if you tried to pick up those vocabulary words now, you could. Because your mind is so fine-tuned. And I think that's the thing. Getting into it long enough to where your brain... Like, if you hear a word in English that you've never heard before, you probably only need to hear it once and you'll know what it means just because you're so familiar with the language. You know what I mean?
It happened the other day, actually. I put it on my Twitter as well. I said I was playing Persona 5 and a word came up. Is it Mokunin? And I didn't know what that word was, so I had to look it up. So I looked it up in the J to J dictionary, and I was like, okay, that makes no sense whatsoever. So I looked it up in the Japanese to English dictionary, and I was like, what is this word? I've never seen this word before in my life. So then I had to look it up in an English dictionary to see what this word was. Was acquiesce. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it means to accept something reluctantly.
Okay.
I was like, right, okay. Because, so that... I think one of the words in the Japanese dictionary that I found was reluctant, and I didn't know that word either. So that rather than going down the rabbit hole of, I don't know this word, I don't know this word, I don't know this word, I don't know this word,
Right.
I can't be bothered with that, so I just skip ahead.
Yeah.
Moved on.
That makes sense. I feel like that could be overwhelming because I've heard a lot of people talk about when they make the monolingual transition, they'll read and then the words they don't know from that definition, they'll also look up, and then the words and it just seems like it just spirals.
I don't have time for that. I very rarely in the monolingual transition, quite often, like even cards that I've made today, they're in English at the bottom. I don't have time to mess about.
Yeah.
I want to know what the meaning is. I want to know what it now is so I can play my games.
Right. Yeah. Because I know that, like I said, you if you only have 30 minutes or an hour a day tops, I mean, you want to get the most out of it. The other thing that I really liked about I think it was your 18-month video, where you had said that you were speaking and you didn't really care about the mistakes because the reason you were learning was for communication. And I think, and I know that's a big kind of counter argument in MIA is they're like, or in AJAT, it's like, no, don't speak. But then you've got some people who do. I think I like your approach. I probably won't speak. I mean, I've been studying Japanese off and on for a while, but at this point, 2 months into, or a month and a half into this immersion-based thing, I'll probably give it a little bit just to build a little bit of a foundation, but then I personally plan on speaking a little bit in because, I want to check. Like, I don't know when I'll get to use it, but I do want to start speaking because I find that speaking helps things stick into my head, into my memory. Like, saying them aloud really helps me remember them. Oh no, did it cut out again? I think it cut out again.
Again, I can't hear you.
Oh,
have you gone?
Are you there?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? No.
Why does it keep failing on me?
Okay, I think you're there. Oh, no. It like gets right better right before. All right, we'll try it. Try it again, and then if not, maybe we can try another. Also, you guys can see in the stream I have to use my laptop camera when I'm chatting with it. There we go.
Sorry, man. I think we're having problems with my internet. I think it's me. It's going wrong.
No, you're good.
Say that again. Sorry, my friend.
No, you're good. In terms of, I was talking about how you talked about speaking from the beginning. Basically, like I plan on doing that. I am going to give myself a few months in the immersion-based thing to kind of just let things soak in. But I am going to start speaking because I do find personally that when I'm saying things, it helps it stick into my brain. It helps me remember it.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, right? People say, in MIA, you shouldn't speak because you're not ready to output yet. But in my opinion, right, if you've, because Japanese all the time, you take everything from native speakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got something on a flashcard that a native speaker has said, and you know the context in which it was said, and you know it's correct because the native person said it, why can't you say it?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's changed just as like especially with Matt getting bigger into like pitch accent and stuff, which I don't think he got into pitch accent for the sake of telling others to get into it. I think that he had hit a level where he was like, all right, I'm going to start working on this kind of stuff, and I think a lot of the early on MIA fan base maybe kind of jumped on that a bit because it's a very cool thing to say. You know what I mean? Like I was watching Tokini Andy the other day, and somebody came in and was like, "Your pitch accent is terrible," and he was like, "Okay, I can speak Japanese, so." Like,
Who cares?
Yeah, but and again, I understand why Matt's doing it because Matt is to a point where it's almost like a new challenge for him and whatever because he's good and whatnot. But I think that people doing MIA maybe if there's no point for me, maybe there's counter arguments to this, but there's no point for me to start jumping into that because I'm 2 months into immersion based learning. But
yeah,
I think the other argument for that is Japanese. Even if you get the pitch wrong, for the most part, if I would say, "Oh man," if I was saying outside and I was like, "Oh man, Ame is falling from the sky," you probably wouldn't think I meant candy is falling from the sky. You would probably know I meant rain.
well, you can have wishful thinking, can't you?
Right. Well, that's true too.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've watched any of the videos I've made in where I haven't spoke English. I've only spoken Japanese. I've made some fitness things on my channel recently. My accent's not perfect, but at the same time, how many foreigners do you have in your hometown that speak English perfectly?
Right.
I haven't met many.
Yeah.
Does it bother you? It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I'm actually going to check that out because one of my favorite channels that I immerse with is actually, and you may not gather this by looking at me, but I really like health and fitness stuff. That's something I've gotten into because I used to be 285 pounds, and I'm well.
I'm trying to work that out because we use kilograms, don't we?
Yeah. Let's see. I'll do the conversion, but I've worked on losing weight. I've dropped. Let me see. Pounds to kg. I used to be 285. Let's see. I used to be 129.25 kilograms.
No way. I was 120 kilograms when my journey started.
Whoa.
And because I'm not very tall either. I'm 164 centimeters, which is 5'2", 5'3". So for a guy who's 5'3" and is 120 kilos, I was a circle.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah, that's... So
yeah.
I've tried to get a little bit, but I'm down to 99 kilograms now.
All right.
So it's anyway. But one of the channels that I've been watching is it's called Kinniku. It might be called Kinniku Channel or something like that. And it's just
my name. How dare it?
Yeah, it's just this super beefy Japanese dude. And he'll talk about, and it's funny to me because I'll listen to it and I realize how there's a lot of stuff that's like derived from English because he'll be like bicep curl, and that always cracks me up.
Yeah, you spend so much time learning Japanese for them to say motivation in English.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody talking about that the other day where it was like it was obviously like a little dramatized of that, but it was like, why did I spend so much time learning Japanese for all these English words? Like
probably Dogen, right?
It may have been, yeah. I don't remember right off. I don't remember who it was. It was a couple of days ago. So, have you ever tried? I know it's a waste of time for you because you're comfortable where your Japanese is. But have you ever got the curiosity to check out some of the apps that teach Japanese to see either how good or how bad they could be?
Never tried them.
Never tried them. Okay.
I found I found the thing that works for me, so I just stuck with it. I didn't want to defer to it too much because it might hinder my progress if I'm spending time checking other things out. To me, Anki is a very small portion of what goes on. Anki is the leg day of my whole workout, my whole job.
Right. No, I think I cut again.
If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, it
So
makes
yeah,
sense.
I tend not to do that.
No,
Have
it
I lost
makes
you again?
yeah for just a second, but it's back. Can you hear me?
I think the feed stopped.
No, I think. Yeah, it's gone again. All right, I may see. You
Man,
there?
I'm so sorry. I don't know what is going on.
No, you're good. Um, yeah, no. So it makes sense making use of the time that you have for just specifically what. In terms of like, because I know you have a kid as well. Because and that's where I'm at. Like when I get home, I Japanese is not even on my radar because I'm spending time with my kid until he goes to bed. Like I love
Yeah,
Japanese and stuff, but
man.
I'm not putting anything in front of my kid or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, my son wants to get involved with a lot of stuff that I'm doing.
Hmm.
Like, so if I was to buy the new Pokemon game on Switch and play with him, I'd play it in English because he's only young, so I don't want to spoil his English acquisition by
Right.
loading him with Japanese. I mean, I could teach him it, but one, I'm not in a stage in a position where I can start teaching someone Japanese to like a bilingual native
Right.
level. And two, he's got so much of his own native language to learn anyway that I don't want to hinder that in any way.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, obviously things have been different, very recently. But on a regular day, on a regular school day, I'll be at work for 8 o'clock. I'll be there until 6, if that. I'll come home. I'll put my son to bed, and then I'll be at the gym 7 o'clock, well, about 8:30.
Hmm.
Come home, and I'll probably watch something in Japanese while I'm in the bath or whatever. Have my dinner, spend about half hour on Anki. Then it might be like 10:30, well, 11 that I'm playing a game or something like that. But quite often that doesn't happen. Quite often, like I'll get the Anki out of the way, and then that'll be it. Because I'm a husband as well, I've got to spend some time with the missus,
Right.
so entertaining her. So a lot of the time, yeah, a lot of the time the immersion doesn't really happen in one sense, but on another sense it does because like I said before, my phone's in Japanese. I message people all day long anyway. So if I don't get to play a game or I don't get to watch anything, I'm not bothered. I'm not the sort of person that will beat myself up. Oh, you didn't do any immersion today. I'm not bothered about that. And
Yeah.
likewise, going back to Anki as well, the tags are on the bottom for the answers. Like the again and then the hard, the medium, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If I get something wrong, I never fail myself. I always put it on hard.
Hmm.
So I don't want to have to review it straight away again because to me I've already failed it once. I'm going to fail it again next time. I'd rather fail it again tomorrow.
Gotcha. That actually makes
Otherwise,
sense.
otherwise it'll just build up and build up and build up. I'll be there doing it all day.
Yeah.
And if something gets to the point where I got it wrong, say I got it wrong 3 days in a row, and I won't see it again because I keep pressing hard. I won't see it again for another 3 weeks. That's the only time I press it again because I need to have it refreshed
Yeah.
in my mind.
That makes sense. I think that's kind of where like which I restarted. I talked to Matt and he had said that they had redone the RTK deck, and I actually restart. I was 530 cards in, but from where I had 30 plus cards a day for like
Uh,
several weeks, like I mean, it was just overwhelming. So
yeah, I'm not about
I
that.
just restarted it. So it was
No, not about that whatsoever.
yeah,
Not about that.
it was
There was a time, in fact, it was around this time last year was when I discovered that I would be on Ninja Warrior Switzerland.
uh-huh.
So from then, in my already busy schedule, I did another training session in my busy day. So I was up at 6 a.m. and training it then, and then training it after work as well. And I was so busy training and that sort of thing that I didn't do any Anki.
Mhm.
I sacked it off completely. So from I don't know March, April, May, and then majority of August because I was training so hard that I didn't do anything Japanese wise as far as study goes. I either turned down my new cards completely so that I didn't get anything new and I was just reviewing what I already knew,
Mhm.
or that I didn't get it done at all. And if I didn't get it done, I didn't get it done because my focus at the time was Ninja.
Right.
And then yeah, it come around September again. I got back on it a bit more. But am I bothered? No.
Uh,
Am I happy? Yes.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You look at what you've done. So like, because I know people, people are so tore up about the idea of streaks, right? Like, oh, I need to do
Oh
it X
yeah.
amount of days. But like, if you study 29 out of 30 days, or do whatever, that's pretty good. But
Oh yeah,
if
definitely.
if you study for 6 days and then miss a day, and then you're tore up that you missed the streak, so you just don't do anything the rest of the month, you've then studied 6 days out of 30 days. That's a big difference.
The thing that my sort of philosophy on all is the time's going to pass either way. So you either do what you want to do and just enjoy yourself,
Yeah,
or you don't do it. You can't beat yourself up about it. Life's too short to get annoyed with yourself.
yeah. Which actually, and that's a good talking about doing things that you enjoy. The other thing that you talked about is you were watching the news, and you were like, I don't understand any of this, and then you were fondly like, I don't watch the news in English, so why am I trying to watch it in Japanese?
It's so true. Why would you torture yourself? I don't understand why people put themselves through that horror when they don't
Yeah.
have to.
I don't know if it's like a status thing or what, but yeah, that's my main focus in Japanese is the same as yours, and that is I want to enjoy and know the topics that I enjoy about. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
if you said you can either know no Japanese or you can know everything to do with wrestling, Animal Crossing, and like a couple of other things. Well, yeah, that's what I'd take. I would, and be perfectly
Win-win.
fine. Yeah. And it's
I
I
don't know
hope.
if you saw as well. I made a video not so long after I first started doing my Japanese learning studies, because a lot of people are arguing that you can't learn Japanese from anime. So I was
Hmm,
like, really? I don't believe that at all, because surely only a certain percentage of that would be anime words. The rest of it would be real life words.
hmm.
So I downloaded the script from Pokemon, the first ever episode of Pokemon, and this is really sad, but I made an Excel document and
Hmm.
I put in it a list of all the real words and all of the Pokemon specific words. And then I made a chart as to how much percentage was
Right.
and how much was real words. I was like, see, you can learn Japanese from Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, if you're going to Japan, it's a whole different story. But if you love anime and you learn Japanese from anime,
And then
you're
you're just going to watch anime
you're
with
just
it.
gonna
And
watch anime with it, so you're fine.
that's like the JLPT, and it's so many people are hung up over the JLPT, and so many people say, "Oh, like I'm in quite a fair few groups on Facebook for learning Japanese, and the people are like, oh, what if they sorry, I'll start again. If they ask you a question and you reply, they'll say, oh, what JLPT level are you? You're really good.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the JLPT. Why are you not taking the
Yeah.
JLPT? Is everything? The JLPT is nothing. I'm
Yeah.
not going to Japan anytime soon. I'm not trying to live over there and work a job. I just want to be able to play my video games. I don't care
Yeah.
what goes on. you know,
Yep.
people have such a high regard for the JLPT where I couldn't care less.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I had a conversation with a guy named Jordan a few weeks ago. My time schedule right now is destroyed. But
See the bearded SSJ.
yeah, yeah, and I think he was talking
Boom.
about doing the JLPT, but he's also trying to go to Japan to work, so it purely makes sense, right? But
Oh
like,
yeah, for him it's a completely different story. I mean, on one hand, I am intrigued because it is nice, if you're having an argument about, something in Japanese, it's nice to go, there you go,
yeah, yeah,
there's my JLPT once, and then.
right,
But on the other hand, and the academic side of it as well, put it real talk. I am a teacher, and qualifications and certificates do mean a lot to people in the academic world, and that's a fair point. But personally, I couldn't care less about the JLPT.
yeah. No, that's where I'm at too. Like, I mean, at some point, I thought I may take the JLPT M5 literally for the only purpose of saying I passed a Japanese test. But other than
Mm-hmm.
that, and honestly, I may not even do that. I just, again, my focus is I don't want to learn how to take a test, and I don't want to have to take the time to learn how to take a test. So I just want to enjoy what I'm watching.
That's another thing that annoys me about it as well, because it's a multiple choice test. You could take the M1 and pass it without having to learn a single word of Japanese because you could just fill in the things however you wanted. You've got a quarter chance of passing.
Yeah,
It
I mean that's a good point too. Um,
means
I don't
nothing.
know. Yeah. Um, so once, so you So okay, you talked about you did the Anki stuff. I was trying to think in terms of the vocabulary. You said that you specifically did like sentence mining. Like you had a hard time remembering the specific vocabulary words.
Only when I
And
had a list of vocab. If I had it in a sentence, it was much easier to remember.
yeah, because you could put the context of the sentence with it. And most of your vocabulary you pulled from when you were playing games, right? Like Pokemon and stuff like that.
Yeah, either that or from like fitness videos on YouTube or watching like people on Sasuke and then what they talked about.
Mm.
So, for example, the other day I found out Kotsuban taking Taisho, which is pelvic floor muscle exercises.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do. It's not useful, not a useful word, but it's a new thing that's added to my vocab because
Okay.
it came up and I didn't know it. Even though at the time I could read every kanji because of my experience in it before, and I knew the keywords of every kanji, but I didn't know what the English equivalent was, so I had to go look it up.
Mm.
But it made sense in the long run.
Okay. That makes sense. When you and now at the point where you're at, when you come across new words, like did you make a flashcard for that, or do you just kind of
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of know?
anything I don't know that I make a flashcard of, and as well, say for example I've got a flashcard with a word in it, and it's in my deck. It's been on my deck for a long time, but the last time I saw that flashcard, I pressed the good button, and I won't see it for another 3 years.
Mm.
If I then see it in the wild and I don't remember what it was, and then add it as a new flashcard, so all my self-made cards are in a separate deck called 10,000 Sentences, which is what everyone seems to strive to achieve.
Right.
And a lot of them might be very similar words or the same word that I've seen in the wild and just re-added. But yeah, how many cards have I got now? It's well over 8,500.
Oh, in your sentence deck.
But
Whoa.
yeah, like I said, there might be a few. Well, I know for a fact there's a few repetitions in there because it's words that I've seen and not been able to read aloud, and
Mm.
that's just me being me. That word is in my deck, but I couldn't read it then, so therefore, obviously, I don't remember it. So it's going back in as a new sentence, new context, or whatever.
Gotcha. Do you import like the games and stuff that you're playing now? Like if it's something that comes out early in Japan, do you import it so you can play it early, depending on what it is?
I try. See, I'm in my area where I'm from. I'm from Yorkshire, and Yorkshire people have a bit of a stigma, like a stereotype of not liking spending money. So I try and withhold that. So it's very rare. I often wait a fair little while until video games have gotten old. At the minute, I'm playing Pokemon Crystal and Dragon Ball Fusions, and the both. Pokemon Crystal was year 2000, and Dragon Ball Fusions is 2016. So it's a fair while, but yeah. And as I said before as well, I don't own any of my own technology apart from my phone.
Mm.
Everything else, like this laptop, is my school laptop, so I'm very limited in the technology that I have. I just try and make it work.
I got you. Well, I mean that's that's you can look at that as a positive thing because like not having all these distractions, you can just go right into whatever you're doing because like which I've built kind of a tolerance to them. So at night, if I because I watch YouTube a lot of times on my PlayStation, and so I'll turn it
Yeah.
on, and there's always that like I could play Spider-Man for a while, but then I'm like, nope, but I had to build that up. Like I had to build up that block in my brain to like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go do that. But not having that, man, that's a
So yeah, when I restarted Asia, obviously it's 2017. Since then, lots of games have come out, and I've made a really long list in my phone of stuff I'm going to buy next time I go to Japan rather than importing it. Because importing it's like silly extra money on top of it.
yeah.
And I was supposed to be there at the beginning of April this year. Obviously, not going to happen. So, but yeah, I've still got a long list of things that I want to play, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the Spider-Man game was on there as well, actually.
Yeah,
Stuff like
it's,
that.
it's good stuff.
Do you want to hear the list?
Yeah. There's probably I got out of games for a while. I used to I was a manager at a GameStop for 6 years, and I was it just kind of burnt me out on games. But within the last couple of years, I finally gotten back into them.
Yeah, well, you just got to do what you love doing, but do it in Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the list we've got Kakarot, Dragon Ball. Goes without saying, right?
Right.
My Hero Academia. There's a Taiko no Tatsujin game.
Okay.
The Shenmue for the PS4. Pokemon Heart Gold. It's an oldie but a goldie, literally. Judge's Eyes. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a Yakuza type game.
Okay. I love Yakuza, so
Yeah, it's made by the same studio.
whoa. Okay.
And yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake. There we go. That's my list. That's my
Yeah.
my list
It's not
My wish
bad.
list.
It's not bad. You know, I mean, there's some stuff on there, and they get a little bit of time. I think one thing. How do you get through the idea? Because I know in one of your update videos too, you had talked about how you're like, oh, I'm like 20 some hours in, but I'm only at this part, like, because it takes you longer to play. Like, is
Oh, it
that
does, yeah.
is that a deterrent for? Well, I mean, obviously not, because you're continuing to do it. But how do you kind of fight through that? You know, like I know a lot of people would just eventually kind of like they were just ramming their head into a wall and just not making any progress. Like, how did you kind of get through that? Did you have to take breaks throughout playing it so you didn't get frustrated, or what was kind of your strategy to get through that?
I'd say it's you got to look at it from the opposite side. It's not about taking breaks. It's that I only have a short window to play it anyway, so I'm not in the game long enough to get frustrated with the fact that it's taking very long time.
Right.
Yeah, look at it from the other hand. you know, even now, like when I've been playing Pokemon Crystal on YouTube, translating things line for line, it takes a hell of a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've noticed like, oh, I've been playing this game for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever, but I'm only at the first section. If I'm playing it in English or just reading along in Japanese, I might have finished this whole section a long time ago. But
Right.
if you're translating as you go, it just take a lot longer. But I mean, at my level now, if I'm just playing it for my own sake, it doesn't take very long at all. You know, it just goes through. I think that the time is taken in translation. So if you're at the point where you do have to translate every line for yourself, then it will take longer.
Take longer.
But the key is you got to remember why you're doing it. You're not playing it because you want to play the game. You're playing it because you want to learn the language that's in it. So if you're going to get frustrated that you're making no progress in the game, think about how much progress you're making in the language.
Yeah, that's a good point. Question was, how many sentences does Ash have in Anki? I think he said 8,500.
Yeah, 8,500 of my own self-made sentences.
Yeah. Did you ever do any? I know I've seen people go back and forth on this. I don't think I would do this because I think the sentences have to be something that you specifically, you know, have had contact with. But did you ever try any like pre-made sentence decks or anything? I know that Nihongo Shark has where they'll introduce the word and then they'll have that word in a sentence. But like in terms of like just downloading just a purely pre-made sentence deck, have you ever tried anything like that?
I tried one before. I think it was called, Tobira Grammar or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted some more difficult, because it was after I finished Take Him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, I've got a Take Him sentence card deck. Oh, yeah, I'm going to point out that I've never actually paid for the book of RTK or the book of Take Him. I just used the pre-made sentence decks, and that worked for me. So, yeah, with that in mind, I downloaded Tobira Grammar, the deck, and I found that the focus for me at the time as well wasn't so much the grammar that was contained within, but it was more all the different kanji and the difficult words that were within it. So I spent more time trying to dissect each card and just got really annoyed with it. It was not like a +1 sentence, it was a +7 sentence. So I was like, delete, 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 delete on every single card. So that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
So from then out, yeah, like I said, it's just a very simple process. Sorry, for me.
Yeah.
Because I've never used anything like, well, I tried subs to SRS once, but I'm not very good at like coding and things like that. So I managed to break my deck that I had. So I'm not doing that again. So yeah, from then it's all self-made decks. In total, I think I've got about 10,000 sentence cards, but you know, there's 2,000 of them which are Nihongo Shark.
Right.
And then some of them are taken as well. So yeah, my own self-made deck cards are 8,500 plus.
What's funny about that, for anybody listening, if you've ever thought about trying iknow.jp, the app, the Nihongo Shark card deck on Anki is literally the same. It's the same sentences read by the same human being. Like,
is it really?
Yeah. Because I tried out iknow.jp for a little while because it's like, it does the same thing. It'll introduce the kanji and the word, and then it'll be like, it'll have the sentence, and it's the same. It is the same sentence. It's the same audio. Like, yeah. So,
I wonder where they've stolen that from.
I tried to use I tried to use subs to SRS too, but like, I agree with you. Like, I think I could eventually get faster at it, but like, it took so long for me, just the first couple, and I was like, I could be doing, you know, and
exactly.
That was the same thing. Yeah, when I first started getting into it, you know, I was trying to get sentence cards and all this stuff, and like, I was spending so much time. I can remember when I first started MIA in April, Like I was starting to do, and I was starting to do cards, and I was like, I mean, I would immerse for an hour, but I would only actually watch maybe 10 minutes of TV, because the rest of the time was trying to get these cards to be fine and whatnot. Like it was just
Yeah, for me, it's very much the other way around. Mankey is just like the icing on top of the cake. The rest of it is,
yeah.
you know, enjoying the whole process. And sometimes I'll even just skim over words that I don't know, or just completely blank out the stuff that, especially in the beginning stages,
Mhm.
I only look for I plus one sentences. So anything I didn't understand was just straight out the window,
Yeah.
focusing on the stuff that I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, you attach that positive and happy nature to it, you know, because I think there's so much where you can, if you don't understand so much, you're gonna get upset, and that's gonna create like this
Yeah,
negative
and
stigma.
that as well. I don't know if you've noticed that I can't sit still for very long. So sitting still and focusing on that for a long time does my head in completely. So I'd rather just move on and do something I enjoy.
Yeah. You do you do a lot of reading or anything? I don't remember if you talked about reading or not right off. I don't remember. Do you do a lot of reading or anything like novels? Did I miss that?
Well, as a teacher, this is going to sound really bad. No, but I don't read for pleasure. I read for knowledge. So
Gotcha.
non-fiction is the way to go for me
Okay.
personally. And RPGs, you know, they're reading for pleasure. Out there's so much text in them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I read those, and I did read a couple of really light novels to begin with, and I've got some manga that I've read as well. But yeah, I'd rather play games. It's just my passion. Going back to the news, you know, why force
Right.
yourself to do something you don't do in English?
Right. I need to get. I'm trying to get with my wife to buy a second Nintendo Switch, because I have a friend from Japan who said if I put my Switch in Japanese, the cartridges will play in Japanese. Like the Switch games will play in
Ooh,
Japanese, and I
that's
need to.
interesting.
And if I get it and it doesn't work, then it's still just I'll have my own Animal Crossing island, and it's still a win. But
Yeah,
so you know what I mean.
yeah,
But if I can
absolutely.
do that, and if I could play, even if I could play Animal Crossing in Japanese, because Animal Crossing is very basic. Like it has furigana for everything. Like because it's, I mean, it's not a child's game, but you know. And I've also thought, I've never played or been into Pokemon a lot, just because I didn't get into it at a young age, and I've just never really,
Yeah.
you know. But I know people talk about some of the Pokemon games being like absolutely perfect for language learning.
Oh, good. I remember seeing reading on the back of the English version box when I was about 10 years old that you need to have a certain reading age to be able to play it, like a reading level
Mm.
in English. So I think it was like, was it 11 plus, 14 plus? Something I can't remember, but it was. I remember thinking at the time, "Oh, I am that much," and
Yeah.
being really proud that I was of this reading level. So it'll be the same in Japanese, right?
Right.
So,
The
and
only,
if you think about the average, like 11, 12, 14-year-old child, you know, they're quite good at their own language, right?
yeah.
So if
Yep.
they're good at it, then surely I can be good at it.
Yep. I mean,
They
you
can
know,
say everything I need to say.
and the thing is, like, I'm at a level where I watched a video the other day of a guy who had just hit 1 year doing mass immersion, and he talked with somebody, like one of his Japanese friends or something, and I think that they had kind of just figured out that he was right around about a 3.5-year-old level in terms of speaking, and
All right.
I was like, I think about my son is 3.5, and so it
Yeah.
hit perfect, because I was like, if I could talk like that in Japanese, I would be freaking ecstatic. Because like, even though some of the stuff he
Absolutely.
says is weird, I still, you know, you still get the idea of what he's saying. And I was like, man,
Hmm.
I would love to sound like a 3-year-old in Japanese.
Exactly. And but not if you're in the age out community though, because they won't like that because you're not supposed to be outputting at that level.
That's true
No, no, no,
too.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I never read a lot of AJAT and stuff. Like I got, I have read the website, and I actually did the mistake of giving Katsumoto my email address on the website, so like it just got bombarded with stuff. But
Oh,
like,
never.
which I unsubscribed from that newsletter. But I did. I've always I found Matt and found him to be like he's way more, he puts everything where it needs to be, and it's not just this vomit of words.
He's much more concise.
That's yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
it's easier for me to follow what he's saying as opposed to what AJAT. And I get the idea of AJAT, and I know that it even comes from what was the Anti Moon site or whatever, like where those two.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a site called Anti Moon where two, I think maybe Polish guys or something, learned English and basically what AJAT is.
All right.
You know,
Clever.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I I fully respect what that guy did. You know, I just to me it's I feel like the best way to learn languages is to make it work for you. Because if you're, if you go down this rabbit hole and it's like, I want to hit 24 hours a day, I want to go to sleep with earbuds in listening to Japanese. Well, as soon as you break that first day, you're going to start beating yourself up. See, I've set myself in a position, and maybe you can elaborate on this for what you've done. I've set myself in a position where I can only go up from here. I can't immerse much less than what I'm immersing right now just because of the time. So when I have a day, so instead of immersing 4 hours a day and then hitting 2 hours and feeling upset, I immerse for an hour, but on those days when I get an hour and a half or 2 hours of immersion, I feel great. And so it's just that constant,
good, isn't it?
positive.
Nice sense of achievement. Again, at the end of the day, like it's not your job, and it's not the be all and end all. If you don't do it, it's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Think of all the other hobbies that you've got. You don't do them every day, do you?
Nope.
Do you beat yourself up if you don't do origami? If that's one of your hobbies,
Yeah.
You don't beat yourself up about it.
Yep. No, and that's the thing. I do play Animal Crossing every day, but that's a little bit different. But I also will play. But see, the thing is, same thing going with hobby. I can play Animal Crossing literally long enough to log on, play for 5 minutes, and stop. As to where, like Japanese, I may only watch a show, and a lot of people would consider that not studying, but it's not.
Oh, it definitely is. Definitely is.
It may not be the time that I need to, to go into it or not. So, but I agree with you on that. I mean, if you're going to Japan, like if you know that you're going to Japan and you need to speak it because you're going to be moving there or something, then by all means, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever you want to do, but you still don't even have to do that.
Not unless you're going to Japan tomorrow and you didn't know that you were going to Japan tomorrow. You don't. Then there's no need to get yourself frustrated about it. I mean, like I say, I only do what makes me happy, and if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. In the same breath, I mean, going back to AJAT and MIA, I've only watched like maybe 3 at most of Matt's videos, and again, that's no offense to Matt. It's just if I'm watching Matt's videos, then I'm not immersing. Right. I'm not using my time. I'm not using my own time very well. Right. And again, no offense to Matt. I'd take my hat off if I'd wear one. I'd take it off completely to him because I think he's done a great job with demystifying and helping other people just get into the whole language learning process. But yeah, it's not. I've never. Well, maybe 3 of his videos, if that.
Yeah.
But if I was going to do one of the other hobbies, it would be in Japanese. Like if I was to play Animal Crossing like you, I'd have got the Japanese import.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, man. I think you have to do what you in order to maintain happy. I use this. I posted this on Twitter a while ago, and I've used this in the last 2 or 3 videos that I've made live streams. But it's so true. When you think about, and I don't know if this will go because I don't know if the UK did it. As a matter of fact, I had somebody comment on a video and was like, "What is that?" But in 4th grade, I don't remember a single thing about what they taught me in math class, but I remember this very specific thing that we would do in gym class where we'd have a parachute and everybody would stand on the side of it all the way around it, and you would shake it, and they'd put like a ball in the middle, but it's because it was a fun experience.
It's called popcorn.
It's called what?
That game's called popcorn.
Popcorn. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because we do that as well. It's called popcorn.
Popcorn. Yeah. So I mean, and that's I vividly remember that, and it's because it was a fun activity.
That's the teacher I want to be. I say it to my own students. That's the kind of teacher I want to be. I want to make it fun.
I mean, it's
all their lessons have to be like that.
It's how you learn. So, I'm gonna.
Another thing that I say to my own students is, I don't care if you get it wrong, but I care if you don't try. And I say that to them every day. So yeah, going back to Anki, I don't care if I get it wrong. I might care if I don't do it that day.
Right. See, That's what I like about Anki. If you ever go and try to use like Duolingo, if you get it wrong, it's not just wrong. It's wrong and you fail the lesson. Like it's like, and I think that can create such a negative stigma.
Oh, I'll be deleting that faster than you can breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe straight out there.
Um, Somebody says, "Have you both read Yukio Mishima's works?" I have not even heard of that person.
Nope. Sorry.
I have not. So, yeah, I think I might. I think I might pick up a Switch in the next day or so. If it does, I'll let you know if it does the. Which I
yeah, please.
Because if that would be such a cheap way of importing things because you wouldn't have to import them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, to import Animal Crossing from Japan right now, I think is £94, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's no good. So.
Nope. Especially not for a Yorkshireman like me. We don't like spending money.
Yeah, for sure. So, I know that your time is good. I'm gonna if anybody has any questions in the chat, let me know, and I will get to those. There's about a 20 or 30 second delay, and I'll start wrapping up because I do want to, I'll start being. I'm trying to be more conscientious of people's times. Like I was on here for like 3 hours the other night with somebody, but because you just start rolling and stuff. But
man, it's all good. We're all in lockdown at the moment, so it's fine. Just go for it. Not got any other plans.
No other plans. You were
How many people in the chat, by the way? I can't see.
There's 8 right now.
Hello.
It's been up or down. So like I said, it's real weird with the times. Like sometimes it'll be like 30, and then sometimes it'll be like 8 or 9. But I think it just depends on. There's so many people in different parts of the world that watch. Like you can never.
Well, speaking of, it's getting dark here, and I'm just gonna put a light on. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, because it's even with me and you trying to get together to even do it, just the time period was so up and down.
Absolutely.
In terms of that goes. Yeah. So this guy, it's somebody that recently joined. How long does Ash normally actively immerse in a day? Oh, that's actually. I'm glad that you said that question because that I have a question from that. He says, how long does Ash normally actively immerse in a day?
Okay.
Which I know you.
So
30 minutes.
Each day is different. Some days it can be 4 hours. Some days it can be 5 minutes. Some days it's not at all. It's very different. I do try and get my Anki done. If I get my reps done, that is the most important thing. But yeah, if I don't immerse, I don't immerse. Like I said, my job is very, very demanding. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I've got more important things to do. Language learning is not the be all and end all.
Yeah, and so you the only other type that I remember you speaking about in your videos in terms of immersion, because like what I count as active immersion is if I'm watching and hearing it, like or playing a game or whatever, I count that. I don't I don't count a lot of reading that I do as active immersion because like there's not a picture there to kind of make me understand that context a little bit more or whatever. And then if I'm just listening to something, I don't really count that as active. Again, I like to have both.
Passive.
Yeah, I like to have both. But my question was like, or not my, in terms of active versus passive, and passive just being like listening and stuff like that. Do you try to passively listen throughout the day like a lot or?
Yeah. So I I passively immerse whilst I'm driving to work, so that would be a good 40 minutes a day. And on the way home, and on the way to the gym, and the way back, so that might be, let's call that an hour in like just driving around. I can't immerse at work, but sometimes if I'm marking books after school, I'll put something on, and the cleaning staff think I'm nuts because they'll come in, right? And I'll be watching something like Our Planet or like Blue Planet on Netflix in Japanese, and they're like looking at me and looking at the TV like, does he know what's going on? So yeah, I'll watch stuff like that. So that could be like, say that's another hour.
Yeah.
An hour there or so like that. But yeah, Netflix, and I used to use Animelon for my immersion because it was the Japanese subtitles on things, but right. I don't need them anymore, so I don't use.
Oh no, I think the internet's cutting out again. We made it like almost 30 minutes this time. Hold on, guys. He'll be right back. The internet's.
Have I lost you again?
I think so. Can you hear me? No, I think it's gone. Hold on, it'll end here in just a second, and then I'll get to the rest of these questions. Oh, you
What's
there?
that?
Can you hear me? Nope. All right, he'll call back in just a second. Da-da-da-da. Apologies if I missed it. How much time do you spend listening versus reading versus speaking on any given day? Cool.
Well, we could run that time, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, that one was like 30 minutes. So
Wow.
internet
So
is.
yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, I'll watch something after school on Netflix. Again, if you have a Netflix, you can create a new account and set the base language as Japanese. And most Netflix originals, they have a Japanese dub, so you can watch them
Mm.
in Japanese, which is amazing. So yeah, I'll watch Netflix in the background, or I'll watch Netflix.
Oh, I think it may be going away.
I have to be very picky over the content,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely have to be in terms of what you're watching because you want it to be fun. Can you hear me? Nope. Man, internet keeps dying. You there?
Spoke too soon, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll give it another go for a little bit here.
Maybe about an hour after school, an hour while driving, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just passive immersion. Active immersion is not as much, definitely not as much. But that's where I find most of the words I don't know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, as long as that gets put into Anki, that's
Yeah.
happy.
So that's not too bad though. I mean, if you're listening for an hour or so a day, and then you're playing games and reading during that time of the games you're playing for 30 minutes. I mean, that's an hour and a half to potentially 2 hours, depending on what you're doing, which is more than a lot of people
Yeah,
do.
some days are very lucky, some days are not so much. But that's life, isn't it? And like I said, I'm not bothered as long as I get my reps done. I'm happy because I think that's where the true progress happens. If I'm honest,
Mm. Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
pulls it
Uh,
all together.
yeah, let me see. Oh, okay, and then somebody said, all right, that person they mentioned was a Japanese author, playwright, actor, model, film director, nationalist, and founder of Tate no Kai. Mishima is considered one of the most important. Yeah, I will look that person up, but I've never heard of that person. But I'm also not at a place where I can really, like, if I tried to read something they wrote, it would just be gibberish to me right now, so. But
All right,
I will definitely check them
I'll give
out.
it a
So,
whirl.
what's
I'll give it a whirl.
what do you have any like Japanese like bands or anything like that that you specifically? I'm a huge J-pop fan, and I'm talking like 2010s J-pop fan, like I Am
All right.
Matsuda and like the Hello Project stuff. Like I don't care, man. I think that stuff is super entertaining.
I very rarely listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got anything on in the background, it'll be a let's play. So yeah, I very rarely listen to music. I'll tell you that I do not like
Mm-hmm.
baby metal.
Okay.
It's like heavy metal Sesame Street.
Right.
I don't know if you heard the song number 4. What comes after two? Why? Why?
I've
Yeah, my friend who absolutely loves baby metal is like, oh, you need to listen to this new song. And I'm like, no, if you understand the lyrics, you do not want to listen to baby metal. I cannot
yeah.
stand them.
See, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering as my comprehension of Japanese goes up, if I will slowly start disliking some of the music that I like because I understand it.
Probably.
So,
It's a whole different ball game then.
are your
Whole different
friends
ball game.
are your friends like because I know I have friends here that when I talk to them about language learning, it's always kind of this like, oh, kind of thing, like where you'll say
Yeah.
something and they're like, oh, but like how are your friends in terms of like about like language? Do they ever ask you about stuff, or do they seem interested, or is it kind of that just like that's cool that you're happy kind of thing?
My wife's in the that's cool that you're happy position.
Gotcha,
Definitely. If
gotcha.
I try to explain something to her, she's like, I have no idea what you just said, but you look happy, so I'm happy for
Yeah,
you.
that's my wife too.
Whereas, yeah, man. But my friends, there's some of them are like beginning to learn Japanese, which is cool. I've shown them the way, and
Yeah.
they're very pleased with the progress they're making. Some people are very interested in their culture because they're really really into anime,
Hmm.
but yeah, they're not that interested in learning the language. So they'll ask me if what people say, or they'll ask me to translate a line from so and so, or what does this sign say in the background, that sort of thing. But other than learning themselves, I'm not really bothered.
Hmm.
But Either that or they're not interested at all, which is, the complete flip side of things.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like it's your friends are interested, but they're not at the same time. But like, I sometimes I fight myself to bring stuff up, but then like, there's some stuff that I think is so genuinely cool, and I'm like, even if you don't like languages, how can you not think this is an awesome concept or something? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
but it'll always end up resulting in that. Like, eventually down the line, it always results in the yeah, like like well, that
All
sounds
right, yeah.
all
Good for
right,
you.
cool, yeah. So, and I'm like, come on, man, I don't criticize your hobbies, and not that they criticize, but um, have you ever like I had heard
I
somebody
understand. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Have you ever I had heard somebody talking about this before, and I'm interested to hear what other people have to say, but there was a guy that talked about how about a year into immersion, sometimes when he would think of a concept, and I know that you had briefly talked about something earlier similar to this, but he had talked about oh no, it ended again. Let me see if he pops back on here. Well,
Okay. Sorry, man. Sorry thing
no,
again.
you're good. Yeah, yeah. And I'm actually, I mean, because we've been going for it's over an hour now, man. So I'll
Oh,
probably,
really? Wow.
yeah. So I'll maybe just kind of close with this question. And I know that
Okay.
you've briefly kind of touched on this, or not briefly, but you talked about this a little bit earlier with, oh man, how do you say that in English? But like when I heard somebody speaking about a year into immersion. Sometimes when they are thinking of concepts or something to say, it will hit them in Japanese faster than in English. Have you experienced anything of that nature?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like, I've definitely found as my Japanese levels increase, my English levels gone down. Like, a lot of the time, like stuff that I want to say, I can think of the Japanese word, but I can't think of the English word, and that's really annoying, especially when I'm talking to my wife who has no interest.
Right.
Try to say it, try to think of something. Oh, mate, wait there. And like, no, sorry, I can't
Right.
say that to you. That sort of thing. Like, I forgot the word for gibberish the other day, but I could remember the Japanese word for it. So, like, chimpun kampun. What is that word? Oh man, how do you say
Right.
it?
And that's how I guess that's
But
how you know
yeah,
you fully acquire, like you're actually acquiring the language because you like it's not something because a lot of people will learn the language basically to translate it in their head as to where like you've acquired it.
that's the biggest mistake people make, especially with Japanese. You just cannot translate it. My friend says, like, he asked me to translate things for him, and you can't translate Japanese. You just have to interpret it, and interpreting is a completely different skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much the word for words that you have to exchange; it's a whole nuance behind it all, and it's a completely different skill.
Yeah.
Completely different skill. Did it come up on? Oh man, I can't remember an example. I can't think of an example. Like subtitles, for example, and other things. Think of an example real quick. It's difficult on the spot.
Yeah, yeah.
In a game, was it in Dragon Ball Heroes when I think a character said "Haga tatanai," which means my teeth won't stand up. But if I translated that to English, oh, that guy is over there, his teeth won't stand up.
Right.
You think, what's he on about? But it means that your teeth aren't strong enough, or your weapons are not strong enough to make a dent in an armor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you can get that through the context of a sentence, but you can't translate those words exactly. It's like the easiest way of doing it would be "Yoroshiku onegaishimasu." You've no doubt heard that by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How do you translate that into English?
Yeah. I
You
guess.
can't.
Yeah. I guess it depends.
Be kind to me as I will be to you is the
Yeah.
way I translate
Yeah.
it.
Please be kind to me from here on out. Don't be mean to me.
Yeah,
Like yeah.
yeah. Or don't be a
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So.
word I won't say.
So, well, man, I appreciate your time on today,
Yeah, man, it's been fun.
and all the information. Like I said, I always really liked your videos because you do things the way that I feel like people should do, and it's I'm not saying don't listen to this guy or don't listen to this guy, but take what they say and then apply it to how it works for you. Like the general concept is there, immersion, study the cards, whatever, but you've got to like still have to make it work for yourself.
Yeah, my approach is very bare bones. Like I've done the basic vocab, I've done the basic grammar, and from there on out, it's looking for one word that I don't know in a sentence and adding that to it. 8,500 sentences later,
Yeah.
I'm adding words like pelvic floor exercises.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that means I've got that word, but I've got all the other words. If you think of how many words that you use in a sentence or throughout a day, do you say 8,500 different ones? I'm not sure you do.
Yeah. Probably
So
not.
you can pretty much cover every topic.
Yep.
But like I say, there's still the sky's the limit on how far I've got to go. But
Yeah.
no, am I fluent? Probably not. Am I happy? Very.
Very happy.
I'm very, very happy, and I'm very, very competent as well. So I
Yeah.
can freely talk about things.
Yep.
If you don't mind me carrying on a little bit, I can tell you about
Go
a
for it.
story recently.
Yeah.
Um, when I was on Ninja Warrior Switzerland, I put on my notes when I applied for the show that I could speak Japanese. They interviewed me in Japanese afterwards. I didn't expect that in the slightest.
Whoa. That's awesome. Oh no, I think the internet.
At the same time, I could handle it, and I was fine by that.
Yeah. That's I find that I feel like that would especially coming off of something that would be so fatiguing in doing something like Ninja Warrior and then having to like have the mental preparedness to like do that. I feel like it would just be like such a hassle. Like it'd be so tough.
Yeah, man, I certainly wasn't expecting it because I was so focused on the course at the time as well. Like I had to lâcher from one big jump and I just missed my footing and fell backwards and I forgot there was water underneath me because I was so focused on the end goal. And when I came up out of the water, it was like being ball. And I was shivering and freezing cold. And as I got out of the water, I was like, sorry, what do I stuck at? And I was like, in Japanese. And they're asking me questions like, oh, where did you meet your wife? And if you'd have been successful, what would you do with the prize money? And I was like, okay. So don't forget that I'm soaking wet. I've got an audience of 10,000 people and cameras, and this is going to be nationalized on television.
Right.
So all that pressure on there, and I still managed to pull it together. And recently as well, I've been talking on Instagram Live a lot with a lot of the Japanese Ninja Warriors, and when they see me, like, oh, you're English. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
So I can hold a conversation with them, and quite often there's an audience of like 400, 500 people on them as well, because they're like proper celebrities over there,
Right.
So I'm competent in all the things I can do, but like I said, I'm not. I won't say I'm fluent, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Everybody who meets me says I'm fluent, but and maybe I'm just being hard on myself. But
Yeah. Like I still think the number one takeaway is that you're happy with what you can do, and that's
very, very happy.
Nobody can take that. So, why did you stream so early? Time difference.
Yeah.
There's a 6-hour time difference, so it's 10 or after 10 there. I believe.
Half
right?
9, almost.
Okay, so it's 5. Oh, right, daylight savings time. 5.
Mm-hmm.
5.
Yeah, half 9 here,
5
almost.
Hours, yeah. So that is why tomorrow I do have a stream tomorrow. It'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to catch the later one. So, but cool. Well, I appreciate it, man. Maybe we can do this again in the future. And
yeah, man.
Because I'm gonna binge some of your Japanese stuff as well. Like I did watch the video you made recently. Like, well, it's been within the last few months. The 10, what was it? 10 things. 10 of the hardest things about learning Japanese or something like that. I forgot the title.
Oh yeah.
But like, so I'm gonna start watching some of the ones in Japanese as well, just to see that stuff too. So, but do you have anything that you want to say in closing or anything? I do have your YouTube channel linked down below. You guys can go check that out for
Kinniku Ninja.
All the not Kinniku Warrior. It is not Kinniku Warrior. It is Kinniku Ninja.
Yeah.
I kept from the Ninja Warrior. I kept just ganking that. So, but yeah, anything in closing or anything like that?
Yeah, man. I just say to people, don't be hard on yourself. Do what you enjoy, but do it in Japanese, and stop watching my videos and start immersing.
There you go. Yeah, that is the key. So, well, cool. Thanks everybody for joining. Very, very good stream. Very, very good talk. And I will see you all. Hopefully, I will see you guys tomorrow. So, thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining.
It's been cool, man.